Imagine holding something in your hands that has been touched by the passage of time for thousands of years. A story written by hands now long gone, words that have outlived entire civilizations. It's not a mere object, it's a doorway to the past. What if I told you that the oldest book in the world isn't even written on paper? It predates printing presses, libraries, and even the concept of books as we know them. These ancient texts whisper tales of gods, kings, and mysteries of life, death, and everything in between. Books, as simple as they may seem, have always been more than collections of words. They are vessels for human thought, repositories of wisdom, and in some cases time machines that transport us to worlds we can never physically visit. Have you ever wondered, though, who wrote the first book? Was it one person or an entire culture? What compelled them to immortalize their words, to carve their ideas into stone, etch them onto clay, or inscribe them onto fragile parchment? What secrets could these books reveal if we could only decipher their faded words? Today we're embarking on an extraordinary journey, a journey through time itself. We'll uncover the stories behind the 5 oldest books in history, texts so ancient that they challenge what we know about humanity's past. These aren't just dusty artifacts sitting in museum cases. They are living records of civilizations that came before us. They capture the hopes, fears, and dreams of people who lived thousands of years ago. And in some cases, they reveal knowledge so advanced that it still baffles modern scholars. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Imagine the sheer willpower it must have taken for someone, millennia ago, to preserve their ideas in a way that could withstand the test of time. Imagine the significance they must have felt, believing that their words would matter not just to their contemporaries, but to countless generations after them. This was more than storytelling. It was the act of defying oblivion. Our first stop on this journey takes us to ancient Mesopotamia, where humanity's earliest known story was etched into clay tablets. We'll then travel to Egypt, where words carved into the walls of pyramids guided the dead to the afterlife. From there, we'll explore India's Vedic hymns, passed down orally for centuries before being written down. We'll delve into the medical wisdom of ancient Egypt, preserved in a fragile papyrus scroll. And finally, we'll uncover the secrets of the Dead Sea Scrolls, hidden for centuries in the caves of Qumran. These books hold mysteries that continue to intrigue historians and scholars to this day. How did they survive? What cultural or spiritual significance did they hold for the people who created them? And perhaps most tantalizingly, what stories or knowledge might have been lost forever because they weren't preserved in time? As we unveil the stories behind these ancient texts, we'll also see how they continue to shape our modern world. Their influence isn't just historical. It's deeply personal. Each of these books reminds us of something profoundly human: the desire to understand our place in the universe and to leave a mark that outlasts us. So, if you're ready to embark on this fascinating journey through time, stay with us as we uncover the oldest books in the world. Their stories are unlike anything you've heard before, and by the end, you might just see books and humanity itself in a whole new light. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Our journey begins in the cradle of civilization, ancient Mesopotamia, where humanity's first great story was immortalized in clay, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Imagine walking through the bustling streets of Uruk over 4,000 years ago. This city, surrounded by towering walls, was said to be built by a mighty king whose name echoed through time, Gilgamesh. But Gilgamesh wasn't just a king, he was a legend, a demigod, and the protagonist of the world's earliest known literary masterpiece. The Epic of Gilgamesh is not a single book in the traditional sense. It's a series of 12 clay tablets, each inscribed with wedge-shaped cuneiform script, painstakingly pressed into the surface by ancient scribes. These tablets were discovered in the 19th century, buried beneath the sands of Iraq. They were fragments of a story so old and so profound that scholars still marvel at its themes and relevance today. What makes Gilgamesh's tale so extraordinary? At its core, it's a story about the universal human experiences of friendship, loss, and the search for meaning. The epic begins with Gilgamesh, a proud and powerful king who rules his people with an iron fist. His arrogance knows no bounds, and his subjects cry out for relief. The gods answer their prayers by sending Enkidu, a wild man created to challenge Gilgamesh. But instead of enemies, the two become inseparable friends, embarking on adventures that push the boundaries of their courage and humanity. One of their most famous exploits involves slaying the monster Humbaba, a guardian of the cedar forest. This victory brings them fame, but also draws the wrath of the gods. When Enkidu dies, a punishment for their hubris, Gilgamesh is plunged into despair. His grief is raw, and his longing for immortality becomes the driving force of the story. Gilgamesh's quest takes him to the ends of the earth, to the home of Utnapishtim, a figure who survived a great flood sent by the gods. Sound familiar? The flood story in Gilgamesh predates the biblical tale of Noah's Ark by centuries. Utnapishtim reveals the secret of immortality, but Gilgamesh ultimately fails to secure it. The story ends not with triumph, but with acceptance. Gilgamesh returns to Uruk, realizing that his true legacy lies in the city he built and the stories told about him. Why does this story resonate even now, thousands of years later? It's because Gilgamesh isn't just an ancient king, he's every one of us. His struggles with mortality, his longing for connection, and his eventual understanding of life's fleeting beauty speak to something timeless. The Epic of Gilgamesh is a reminder that even in humanity's earliest days, we grappled with the same questions. What does it mean to live a good life? How do we cope with the inevitability of death? And how can we leave something meaningful behind? But the story of the epic itself is as intriguing as its content. For centuries, it was lost to history, buried beneath layers of sand and forgotten by the world. Its rediscovery in the ruins of Nineveh in the mid-1800s was nothing short of miraculous. Archaeologists unearthed fragments of the tablets in the library of Ashurbanipal, an ancient Assyrian king. These fragments were painstakingly pieced together over decades, revealing a story that had been hidden for millennia. Today, the Epic of Gilgamesh is not just a literary artifact, it's a cultural treasure that connects us to our ancient ancestors. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, a bridge across the ages, and a reminder that even in the earliest days of human civilization, we sought to understand the world and our place within it. As we leave the city of Uruk and its legendary king, we move to another ancient land, where words carved into stone served not as entertainment, but as a guide to the afterlife. Welcome to the world of the pyramid texts. The pyramid texts. Our journey now takes us to ancient Egypt, a land of towering pyramids, golden sands, and a civilization obsessed with eternity. Unlike the Epic of Gilgamesh, which tells a story of human struggle and mortality, the pyramid texts are something entirely different. They are not tales for the living, but instructions for the dead, a sacred guidebook to the afterlife, carved directly into the walls of Egypt's grandest monuments. Dating back over 4,400 years to the Old Kingdom, the pyramid texts are the oldest known religious writings in the world. These texts were discovered in the pyramids of Saqqara, inscribed onto the inner walls of the burial chambers of pharaohs. Imagine descending into the cool, dark tomb of King Unas, the last ruler of the 5th dynasty, and seeing these ancient hieroglyphs glowing faintly under torchlight. Each symbol holds profound meaning, speaking directly to the soul of the deceased. But what do these texts say? At their core, the pyramid texts are a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations designed to help the deceased navigate the treacherous journey to the afterlife. They describe the challenges a soul might face, the enemies it must overcome, and the blessings it will need to secure eternal life among the gods. One spell might instruct the deceased on how to transform into a bird and soar into the heavens, while another might call upon Ra, the sun god, to grant safe passage through the underworld. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end, but a transition, a continuation of life on a higher plane. The pyramid texts reflect this belief in vivid detail, painting a picture of a cosmic journey filled with trials and triumphs. For example, one spell describes the soul's ascent to the sky, where it joins the stars and becomes one with the gods. Another describes the weighing of the heart, a process where the deceased's deeds are measured against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart is light and pure, the soul is welcomed into eternal bliss. If not, it is devoured by a fearsome creature named Amit. But the pyramid texts weren't just religious tools. They were also a display of power. Only pharaohs and the elite could afford such elaborate inscriptions, symbolizing their divine connection to the gods. To carve one's name and deeds into stone was to ensure that one would never be forgotten, a kind of immortality in itself. Over time, the pyramid texts evolved. As new dynasties rose and fell, their words were adapted and expanded, eventually becoming the coffin texts, which were inscribed on wooden coffins, and later the famous Book of the Dead, which was written on papyrus scrolls. These later versions brought the promises of the afterlife to a wider audience, allowing common people to share in the hope of eternal life. The discovery of the pyramid texts in the late 19th century was a revelation. Archaeologists were stunned to find that these ancient carvings, hidden for millennia, held the earliest expressions of religious thought. The hieroglyphs, carefully deciphered over decades, revealed not only the spiritual beliefs of the ancient Egyptians, but also their poetic vision of the cosmos. The texts are filled with metaphors and vivid imagery, describing the sun as a celestial barge, the sky as a goddess, and the underworld as a labyrinth of trials. Even today, the pyramid texts continue to fascinate scholars and spiritual seekers alike. They offer a glimpse into a world where life and death were seen as parts of a grand, interconnected cycle. They remind us of humanity's enduring desire to understand what lies beyond the veil of mortality and to secure a place among the stars. As we leave the echoing chambers of the pyramids, we travel east to another ancient civilization where sacred hymns passed down through generations became the cornerstone of an entire culture. Let us now explore the Rigveda, one of the oldest texts from ancient India. The Rigveda. From the sands of Egypt, we now journey to the lush plains and sacred rivers of ancient India, where one of the oldest and most revered texts in human history came to life. The Rigveda. This is not just a book, it's a living legacy, an intricate tapestry of hymns and verses that has shaped the spiritual and cultural foundation of one of the world's oldest civilizations. The Rigveda is believed to have been composed around 1500 BCE, during the early Vedic period, though its origins may stretch even further back in time. Unlike the pyramid texts, which were carved into stone, or the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was etched into clay, the Rigveda existed first as an oral tradition. Passed down from generation to generation, its verses were preserved with incredible precision, thanks to the meticulous methods of Vedic chanting. What is the Rigveda? It is a collection of 1,028 hymns, known as suktas, composed in the ancient language of Sanskrit. These hymns are organized into 10 books, or mandalas, each brimming with philosophical insights, cosmic mysteries, and poetic beauty. The word Rigveda itself can be translated as the knowledge of verses, and its content reflects a profound quest for understanding the universe and humanity's place within it. But what makes the Rigveda truly remarkable is its breadth. Its hymns touch on nearly every aspect of life and existence. Some celebrate the power of nature, praising the gods of fire, water, and wind. Agni, the fire god, is invoked in countless verses, symbolizing energy and transformation. Indra, the king of the gods, is lauded for his strength and heroism, often portrayed as a cosmic warrior slaying the dragon Vritra to release the waters of the earth. Other hymns delve into abstract concepts, exploring the origins of the universe and the mysteries of creation. One of the most famous hymns, the Nasadiya Sukta, or the Hymn of Creation, poses timeless questions about existence. It begins with a profound paradox. There was neither existence nor non-existence then. There was neither the realm of space nor the sky which is beyond. It goes on to wonder who or what created the universe, and whether even the gods themselves know the answer. This hymn captures the Rigveda's unique blend of spiritual inquiry and poetic wonder, making it as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. But the Rigveda isn't just a spiritual text. It's also a historical treasure. It provides invaluable insights into the early Vedic society, painting a vivid picture of its rituals, beliefs, and way of life. The Rigveda describes ceremonies of fire worship, chants to invoke rain, and prayers for prosperity. It reveals a world where humans lived in harmony with nature, seeing the divine in every aspect of the cosmos. How did the Rigveda survive for so long? The answer lies in the dedication of the Vedic scholars, or rishis, who developed a sophisticated system of oral transmission. Every syllable, every intonation had to be memorized perfectly. This rigorous discipline ensured that the Rigveda remained unaltered for thousands of years before it was finally written down on birch bark and palm leaves around 1000 BCE. The influence of the Rigveda extends far beyond its historical era. It forms the foundation of Hindu philosophy and spirituality, inspiring texts like the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. Its hymns are still recited in temples and homes across India, a testament to its enduring relevance. The Rigveda also influenced early Indian science, with its descriptions of astronomical phenomena, and its linguistic complexity laid the groundwork for the development of classical Sanskrit. For modern readers and listeners, the Rigveda offers not just a glimpse into ancient India, but also a reminder of humanity's shared quest for knowledge and meaning. It speaks to our deepest instincts to ask questions, to seek connections, and to find our place in the vastness of existence. As we leave the resonant chants of the Rigveda behind, our journey takes a fascinating turn to the realm of ancient medicine. In the next segment, we'll explore the Ebers Papyrus, a text that reveals how ancient Egyptians understood and practiced the healing arts. The Ebers Papyrus. Our journey now takes us back to ancient Egypt, but this time we're not here to explore the mysteries of the afterlife. Instead, we're diving into the world of medicine, where one of the oldest medical texts in history, the Ebers Papyrus, offers a window into how the ancients understood the human body and sought to heal its ailments. Dating back to around 1550 BCE, the Ebers Papyrus is named after the German Egyptologist Georg Ebers, who purchased it in the late 19th century. This extraordinary document, over 20 meters long and written in hieratic script, is not just a collection of medical recipes. It's a compendium of ancient Egyptian medical knowledge, capturing insights that span centuries. Imagine a scroll unrolling before you, revealing over 700 remedies, treatments, and incantations for a wide range of conditions. From headaches to snake bites, from burns to digestive issues, the Ebers Papyrus reads like an ancient medical encyclopedia. But it's not just the breadth of the conditions covered that's impressive. It's the sophistication of the treatments. The text includes detailed instructions for preparing herbal remedies, using ingredients like honey, willow, and juniper, many of which have proven medicinal properties even today. Take, for example, the treatment for inflammation. The text advises using willow bark, which we now know contains salicylic acid, the active ingredient in aspirin, or the use of honey as a wound dressing. Modern science has confirmed its antibacterial properties. These connections between ancient practices and modern medicine reveal just how advanced the Egyptians were in their understanding of the natural world. But the Ebers Papyrus isn't just a medical text, it's also a spiritual one. In ancient Egypt, health and illness were seen as deeply connected to the spiritual realm. Many remedies in the papyrus are accompanied by incantations or prayers, invoking the gods to aid in the healing process. The belief was that disease could be caused not only by physical factors, but also by supernatural forces, and so healing required addressing both the body and the spirit. One particularly fascinating aspect of the Ebers Papyrus is its focus on diagnosis. The text includes descriptions of symptoms for various conditions, offering insights into how Egyptian physicians observed and understood the human body. For example, it describes the symptoms of diabetes, referring to a condition where patients urinated frequently and had sweet-smelling urine. This detailed observation, made thousands of years before the discovery of insulin, highlights the Egyptians' careful study of their patients. The papyrus also sheds light on the role of physicians in ancient Egyptian society. Known as Swanin W, these healers were highly respected and often trained within temple schools. Medicine in Egypt was a combination of empirical knowledge, learned through observation and experience, and religious rituals, reflecting a holistic approach to health that sought to harmonize the physical and spiritual. But how did such a fragile document survive for thousands of years? The Ebers Papyrus was likely kept in a temple or medical school, preserved in Egypt's dry climate. It was eventually discovered in the 19th century, buried in the sands of Luxor, where it had been hidden for centuries. Its rediscovery was a monumental moment for historians and medical scholars alike, offering a rare glimpse into the practices and beliefs of one of the world's most advanced ancient civilizations. Today, the Ebers Papyrus is housed in the Leipzig University Library in Germany, where it continues to be studied and admired. For modern medicine, it's a reminder of the deep roots of the healing arts, a testament to humanity's enduring quest to understand and alleviate suffering. As we leave the world of ancient Egyptian medicine behind, our journey takes us to the Dead Sea, where a hidden treasure of scrolls offers a glimpse into the spiritual and cultural life of an ancient community. Let's uncover the mysteries of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Our journey now takes us to the barren cliffs and caves near the Dead Sea in modern-day Israel, where one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century revealed a treasure trove of ancient texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls. These scrolls, hidden away for over 2 millennia, are not just relics of the past. They are a bridge to the world of ancient Judea, a time when spiritual and political turmoil shaped one of history's most influential regions. The Dead Sea Scrolls date back to around the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE. They were discovered in a series of caves near the ruins of Qumran, beginning in 1947 when a Bedouin shepherd stumbled upon a clay jar containing scrolls made of parchment and papyrus. What he found was the beginning of an extraordinary journey into history, a journey that would reshape our understanding of ancient Judaism and early Christianity. The scrolls, more than 900 in total, are written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. They include fragments from nearly every book of the Hebrew Bible, with the exception of the Book of Esther, as well as a wealth of non-biblical texts. Some scrolls are complete manuscripts, while others are mere fragments, their edges worn and brittle from centuries of exposure to the elements. Together, they offer a unique glimpse into the religious, cultural, and social life of a community that existed thousands of years ago. But who were the people who wrote and preserved these texts? Scholars believe they were a sect known as the Essenes, a Jewish group that lived in isolation, dedicated to strict religious practices and a belief in the coming of a Messiah. The Qumran community, where the scrolls were likely copied and stored, was a center of religious scholarship. Its members meticulously transcribed sacred texts, ensuring their preservation for future generations. What makes the Dead Sea Scrolls so fascinating is the light they shed on the diversity of thought within ancient Judaism. The texts reveal a spectrum of beliefs, practices, and interpretations of Scripture, reflecting a vibrant and dynamic religious tradition. For example, the scrolls include alternative versions of biblical stories, like a rewritten Genesis, and apocalyptic writings that envision a cosmic battle between good and evil. One of the most famous scrolls is the Great Isaiah Scroll, a nearly complete copy of the Book of Isaiah that predates the next oldest known manuscript by almost 1,000 years. Its discovery was groundbreaking, providing scholars with invaluable insight into the transmission and preservation of biblical texts. The scrolls also contain the Rule of the Community, a set of guidelines for the Essenes, and the War Scroll, which describes an epic battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. But why were these scrolls hidden in the first place? The answer lies in the turbulent history of the region. Around 70 CE, during the Jewish-Roman War, the Roman army destroyed Jerusalem and the Second Temple. Fearing for their lives and their sacred texts, the Essenes and other groups hid the scrolls in the caves near Qumran, where they remained undisturbed for nearly 2,000 years. The rediscovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls was not without controversy. Their study and publication were fraught with delays and disputes, as scholars and institutions vied for access to these priceless artifacts. Today, the scrolls are housed in the Israel Museum's Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem, where they are carefully preserved and displayed for the world to see. The impact of the Dead Sea Scrolls cannot be overstated. They have deepened our understanding of the Bible, shedding light on its development over centuries. They have illuminated the beliefs and practices of a pivotal time in Jewish history, just before the rise of Christianity. And they continue to spark debates and discoveries as new fragments are analyzed with advanced technologies. As we conclude our journey through the world's oldest books, the Dead Sea Scrolls remind us of the power of the written word. Across time and space, these texts connect us to the people who came before us, their voices echoing through the centuries. They remind us that books are more than words on a page. They are vessels of knowledge, faith, and human aspiration. If you've been inspired by this journey through the ancient past, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribe for more stories that bring the past to life. Thank you for watching. Our journey through the 5 oldest books in history has taken us across continents, through ancient cities, and into the hearts of civilizations long gone. But these texts are more than relics of the past. They are testaments to the enduring power of knowledge, faith, and human creativity. We began with the Epic of Gilgamesh, the first great story, carved into clay tablets in ancient Mesopotamia. It reminded us that the questions of life, death, and legacy have been with us since the dawn of storytelling. Then we moved to the pyramid texts, inscribed on the walls of Egypt's grand tombs, revealing a civilization deeply committed to the journey of the soul. In India, the Rigveda opened our eyes to a world of sacred hymns and cosmic inquiry, a text that continues to resonate in modern times. From there, the Ebers Papyrus showed us how ancient Egyptians sought to understand and heal the human body, blending science with spirituality. Finally, the Dead Sea Scrolls brought us face to face with the beliefs and struggles of a community at the crossroads of history, preserving sacred texts that continue to shape our world. What ties these ancient texts together? It's not just their age or their historical significance, it's their humanity. These books remind us that, across time and space, we are united by our desire to make sense of the world, to leave a mark, and to connect with something greater than ourselves. They show us that the written word is one of the most powerful tools we have to preserve our ideas, share our stories, and transcend the limitations of time. But as we celebrate these ancient works, let's also reflect on their fragility. For every text that has survived, countless others have been lost to history, destroyed by war, natural disasters, or the simple passage of time. It's a sobering reminder of the importance of preserving knowledge, not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come. So what's your favorite story from this journey? Which of these texts inspired you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that illuminate the past and challenge our understanding of the present. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and keep exploring the stories that make us who we are.